Cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And welcome to our spoiler reaction review of Loki episode 5, this is 10, 5, called Journey into Mystery. Feels like a Twilight Zone kind of title.
Yes, and there was, jumping right into it, the fight scene in the bowling alley had very much that 70s kind of Scooby-Doo cartoonish music to it. So there was a lot of feels going on.
So this was the episode I felt was coming after what happened last week. And spoilers for episode 4. If you're watching this, you've watched episode 4 already. And now you're just trying to get our reaction to what happened in episode 5.
Unless you're watching them out of order, and that's
just weird. This is not the Clone Wars. So this picks up right from when Loki gets pruned and is in wherever with the other Lokis.
Right.
And I have something in my eye. And we're gonna do it live. And so picking up from there and trying to explain where the hell they are,
right,
is I really appreciate that that's what the conversation started with, because we had a week of speculation, but to really advance the story, you have to explain where they are before you can actually start doing anything else.
Right, but it was super quick.
Yeah, yeah. Where we actually had to go back and rewind the scene 3 times. And it was before the Loki title card. So it was, we're in the negative void. This
is the void.
This is the void.
That's Eliath. He wants to kill us.
If he wants to kill us, we need to go.
We need to go.
And that was it.
So there you go. Now you know where you are, what's going on. You know everything.
Expedition dump in like 3 words. Let's go. But with doing that, you were able to kind of lay the groundwork of what was going on there with the exposition. Meanwhile, you have Sylvie and Ravana in the TVA, and Sylvie is trying to figure out really what's going on.
Right. Who's controlling the TVA? Because obviously it's not the time masters,
keepers,
time lords, timekeepers,
time relevant people of timeness.
The robots.
The robots, right? And they, Sylvie and Ravana had a tentative working agreement of trying to figure out where they actually get pruned to,
right?
And how to get there and what they need to do and stuff. And Ravana kind of pulled a Loki and tricked her into
almost,
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pull a Loki on a Loki. So yeah, she kind of figured it out.
She figured it out. They had a whole big confrontation thing, and Sylvie decides to prune herself, which in the instance when it first happened, I was like, oh my God, she did that. And then you give it a second to think about it, and you're like, oh my God, that makes sense.
Right, because now she's going to go to wherever it took him.
Yeah.
So if she can't figure it out and basically Miss
Minutes.
Miss Minutes. I was like, Miss Manners. No, that's not it. Miss Minutes.
Miss Marvel Manners of Minutes. We're just gonna make up all the names tonight.
Dear Abby's sister. She basically told him that there wasn't really any way to get there, because her ruse was, there's that void ship that we've been working on, and that's kind of when Sylvie figured out that they were playing her. But I mean, at that point, she knows there's not, as far as the TVA is concerned, there's not really any way to get in there, other than to get pruned. So I'll figure it out when I get there. But she took the little thingy with her.
The timey-wimey laptop cell phone thing, whatever they keep calling it something, and I'm not paying attention because I'm paying attention to everything else. But that her taking that was explained that the only way to get out of the void is to have one of those things
Right.
by the other Lokis when they grab Prime. We were calling him Prime
Yeah.
Loki. And so that idea of here's the exposition, here's the information you need to know, and here's how we're going to get there, all happens within like the first like 4 or 5 minutes of this episode.
Yeah.
And this is probably my least favorite of the episodes overall, because this is leading up to what the big thing is going to be in episode 6. We've been told like 4 and 5 are hugely important to the overall series, and I'm not going to say it wasn't, but everything that happened in the last episode and hashtag justice for Mobius,
Right.
and what was going on there, and then we have this episode, which is all the Lokis in the void, essentially running away from the smoke monster from Lost. And
It's true.
And I'm totally okay with it, because overall I really like the idea. Just my initial kind of when the episode got done, I was like, well, that was it? They didn't really... Sylvie and Loki are back together.
Well, yeah. And the next one, so the next one's the last one, right?
The next one's the last one, yeah.
So the next one is the big showdown with whoever the actual big bad is,
Yeah.
and
At
the
Hogwarts.
reckoning of the TVA, right? Because Mobius took the time portal machine thing back to the TVA, so there's going to be that. And
Oh, yeah,
then-
Mobius is back, by the way.
yes, in a pizza delivery vehicle,
Like a Eastern Bloc
Yeah.
station wagon pizza delivery.
kind of the only thing that's still like Sylvie lands in a bus that's almost completely overgrown.
Right.
Like it's going back to the earth. And then Mobius shows up in a running vehicle. And you're like, how is that?
The biggest
Alright.
thing that they missed in this episode that they could have done, there's tons of Easter eggs. I'm waiting for new rock stars or heavy spoilers to drop all the stuff.
this time.
Because there's just I was picking up stuff in the background, and I wasn't really paying attention to the stuff in the background.
Yeah.
The burger sign is going to make me crazy until somebody tells me what it was. But they missed a huge opportunity to have the truck from Toy Story be the pizza time truck, have it be the one that he shows up in. Like, it's a Disney show. It's Disney. It's Pixar. Like, it's all connected.
Yeah.
They could have had that be the truck.
Yeah.
Now, all of us nerds would have gone, oh my god, now the Pixar universe is part of the Marvel MCU, and it's a timeline. But it just... It was kind of it was a pizza station wagon for pizza time and stuff, but...
And I liked how...
We're already 20 minutes on the pizza vehicle.
Again, how all the stuff that we got in the trailers that everybody has spent months and months trying to dissect were throwaway scenes that, Mobius driving the pizza station wagon past the pyramids. That was nothing. I mean, nobody said anything about it. They were having a conversation in the car, and he drives by the pyramids and the Sphinx.
However, in the trailer, it's just him chasing away towards the Sphinx.
Right.
In the episode, he's getting chased by the smoke monster, and Sylvie's in the back seat.
Right.
So there's a little bit of misdirect there.
Right.
On purpose. I'm okay with it. The big misdirect was President Loki.
Right. And he was, you expected that to have been a much bigger thing, but yeah, that was maybe a 5-minute scene, probably not even that long.
Not even
that he
that
was
long,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, we got boastful Loki. So Kid Loki, so they go back to the
Bowling alley
or whatever, the Lokis, the Fab 5 Lokis and an alligator, go to their
He's a
secret
Loki
base.
too.
He is a Loki too. Loki Gator. They go to their hideout, and it's a bowling alley, bomb shelter, whatever, 70s aesthetic, whatever. And they all have this moment of, so why did you get pruned? Why did you get pruned? Why did you get
what was
pruned?
your Nexus
What was your
event?
Nexus event?
Yeah.
And Kid Loki, in the conversation as they were going to the thing, said he killed his brother Thor. And so which is very interesting because Kid Loki is part of the Young Avengers, and they've been setting up the Young Avengers and everything that's going to be that kind of thing going forward.
Yeah.
And Loki's part of that group. Now, that Loki, if I understand correctly from what I've read, is more closer to this Loki that actually cares about people, and it's not the mischievous one.
Right.
But
Which is evident by his
stance is stance. But we get boastful Loki saying that he got all the Infinity Stones and defeated Thanos, and then they came and pruned him. Classic Loki talks about how he projected himself against Thanos and then hid and hide out in the ship, and then ran to a different planet and stayed out of there. And he missed his brother. And this whole time he's looking at Loki Prime, and Loki Prime starts. He again is getting to that understanding that he cares about other people.
Yeah.
And which is a really cool thing. And then President Loki shows up with his goons. There's a big ballroom fight or whatever. Boastful Loki betrays everybody. Like, betrays President Loki, betrays King Loki, which is this Kid Loki, whatever. So classic Loki, Kid Loki, the alligator, Loki Gator, and Prime Loki all jet out.
Right.
And they make a plan to go after the smoke monster.
Right.
And while that's all going on,
Well, yeah, Loki's like, it's real. If it's alive, it can be killed. Blah blah blah. We're gonna go kill it. And then Sylvie and Mobius. Sylvie shows up. Mobius gets her, and she's like, I connected with it because as she was running away, she kind of did this, and a little green came up,
it
and
connected with because she's an enchantress that
Right.
she was able to have a
reach out to it a little bit,
yeah,
for a moment. So now she knows she can potentially enchant it, and so they all end up in the same place for different reasons.
and then they all build a plan.
Right.
And we get a scene with Mobius, Kid Loki, Alligator Loki, Loki Gator, and Classic Loki, and you come to understand that Mobius actually does care about what he did to all the Lokis, and that he understands now, because what he was doing for the Time Agency, the TVA, that he was wrong, and now he wants to try to make it better. And I love that scene. I love little quiet exposition, character building moments around a campfire. Like, I love that idea, and have that. Well, while all that's going on, oh, by the way, we have heavy flirting going on outside with Sylvie and Loki.
Right.
And that scene, I think, is way more important, and I think more people are going to understand what actually is going on, because everybody had a hissy fit a couple weeks ago when they had that conversation on Lamentus.
Yeah.
And they kind of started having feelings for each other, not necessarily falling for each other, but having feelings for each other. And in this episode, they actually they didn't come out and say it, but they actually said, I don't know, I've never had a friend.
Right.
So I don't know what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And they both recognized that they cared about each other without saying, I care about you.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that idea of, you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else.
Right.
Here's the allegory for it right here, and here's the visualness for it. And why are we having this? Why am I on TikTok having to argue with people like, that's so weird? He's actually just falling for himself, the right version of himself. And then they lay it out in front of you in this episode. So just shut the fuck up. Sorry, that I've been working on that one for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
What that leads to is Prime Loki, Sylvie staying, Classic Loki, Kid Loki, and Loki Gator, deciding to stay there. The three original from the Void deciding to stay in the Void because that's their home now.
Yeah.
And Loki and Sylvie, Prime Loki and Sylvie, decide to go after the
Smoke monster.
smoke monster.
Yep, and Mobius is going back to the TVA.
And he's going to burn it to the ground, and I'm here for it. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I'm here for it, because B-15, the hunter B-15
Yeah.
is in a cage.
Yeah.
And Rwanda went and talked to her about, like, what does Sylvie want? And she pretty much, like, she wants to burn the whole thing to the ground.
Yeah.
But the line there that I really loved was, she's going to win against Ravana because Ravana wants to find out who is behind everything, and Sylvie needs to know what everything. And that was a nice little.
Yep.
Like, she's willing to do whatever it takes, and you're not. It's
Yep.
pretty much what that scene was.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, because now she has feelings for someone. So, that always
Yeah.
messes up the purpose, glorious purpose, right? You
Yes,
don't
yes.
when suddenly you care about somebody, if they get in harm's way, are you willing to give up the thing you were going for them?
Prime Loki actually did. He tried to distract the smoke monster when Sylvie was trying to grab a tentacle to enchant it, and it picked up on what she was doing and ran away from Prime Loki when he was like doing stuff.
Right.
And he like sprinted across the field to save her.
Yeah.
And so there's another example of something there. But they both got saved by classic Loki, who projected Asgard into reality around the smoke monster.
Right.
And they made up. Sylvie said, "How is he doing that?" And Prime Loki says, "I think we're stronger than we think we are, or that we know we are."
I think it was the other way around. I think Sylvie said it.
Maybe, but the idea is they are all stronger.
Yeah, because then she turned around and told him to help her enchant the smoke monster,
because they are they're all the same. They're all the same version or whatever.
Yeah.
And that the tag team of them gets the smoke monster. Actually, it could be silk. But they held hands to pull strength from each other.
Yeah.
Again, another visual telling, storytelling, showing that telling. And then they enchant it. Classic Loki gets what he really wanted, I think, which was to not be in existence anymore.
Yeah.
He ran away once. He came back and he got stuck in the void.
Yep.
And his self-sacrifice was glorious purpose, and he screamed out glorious purpose as a smoke monster came, which I thought was a nice little touch to what the glorious purpose that Loki did when he was attacking New York.
Yeah.
And so it was actually him showing that his glorious purpose was to actually help save somebody else. And I thought that was a really cool...
Right. But it took him however many thousands of years to get there, right? Because he ran away in his previous life before he ended up in the void. He ran away and ran away and ran away. So, this time he started to run away and then ended up helping. And so...
Yeah, I just love the connectiveness with all of how all that worked out, and it was a nice little touch to have a callback to having glorious purpose, but have that meaning, have it be the proper meaning this time.
Right, instead of the Loki meaning.
Instead of the Prime Loki meaning, which is, I am here to defeat all of the U.S. people, because at that point in time only America was getting attacked. Because I'm America. But they were able to enchant the smoke monster, and it opened up a gateway to whatever was behind it. And they were talking about earlier in the episode about the idea of this thing is just the guard dog for whoever is actually controlling the TVA and the stuff in the background.
Yep.
And that is going to lead to whatever it is in the background. Now, when they open the gate and they walk into Mr. Wizard's lair... because there's a lot of Wizard of Oz allegory kind of conversation going on in this show. The wizard behind the curtain looks like, I'm not saying this is for sure, but looks like it's the quantum realm. It looks like once you kind of get past the green smoke and the castle itself, the sky itself looks like inside the quantum realm. There's been tons of speculation that there's in Ant-Man you see a city or something A lot of people are trying to connect the dots that the TVA is there, that's inside the quantum realm, that makes all that sense, and all of that makes sense too for Kang. Kang is going to be the bad guy in Quantum Mania, which is the third Ant-Man movie, and so all the dots make ton of sense. Now, it could be completely wrong, and Kevin Feige is pulling our tail,
Right.
which is a perfect Kevin Feige thing, and I won't be upset. I'm engaged in the story that they're telling us,
Right.
But all the kind of signals are laying out in front of us.
Yeah, and if that is the city in the quantum realm or whatever that thing was in the quantum realm, and Kang is the one who's like the wizard behind the curtain, then that makes sense for the Ant-Man movie.
It makes sense for a lot of stuff, actually.
But yeah, I mean, it's Marvel, and who knows? I mean, that seems at this point too obvious.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's
Yeah.
very fair, and we know that the multiverse of madness is coming,
Yeah.
and so we have that kind of over that kind of shade of uncertainty of what that actually means,
Right.
is affecting what a lot of people are thinking about when it came to WandaVision and this show.
Yeah.
And not necessarily with Falcon and Winter Soldier, because they were dealing with what happened at the end of Endgame, which I think is going to be what Eternals and Shang-Chi are going to be a lot about. It's about dealing with post-blip, everybody coming back. I have abilities. I have all this stuff. I should have been there. I'm going to take action now.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what Shang-Chi and Eternals is going to be. Oh, by the way, we have No Way Home too, and No Way Home, all the rumors is it's dealing with the multiverse too.
Right.
And what happens with all of
Right,
that.
because Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire said they were in it.
And
but-
there's nothing confirmed by anybody, which is exactly the way you're supposed to do it. They're letting
I thought Andrew Garfield admitted that he was in it.
he
He had a cameo or something.
he was approached by a cameo or whatever. That post and that story very quickly went away because the Marvel snipers are real. And so anybody who says anything after Mark Ruffalo and what he pulled and
Right.
what Tom Holland pulled
Right.
on accident, I don't think Tom Holland's was on purpose. I think Mark Ruffalo's was an accident, but I think Tom Holland's was on purpose. But that's a different story. For
No,
a
I
different
think
thing.
they're both just like, I'm just happy to be here.
Right. And there's a little bit of that too. But having all this kind of laid out, it just makes sense when you kind of, at least with the visualness of the end of this episode with what's laying there, it looks like it's the quantum realm, which is another red string to another dot on the board that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Or again, it really is the wizard behind the curtain, and it's all just, we're gonna get Trevor Slattery or something.
That would be amazing if it would. Actually, that's the most dick move possible by Marvel. Is Trevor Slattery is the one who got hired by somebody or whatever to be the guy or
Right.
whatever.
The city is actually just a curtain or whatever,
If
and they go behind it.
Ben
It's Trevor Slattery.
Kingsley is willing to do a cameo for a TV show. I would be amazing. But like I said earlier, with this episode, again, it's not one of my favorite episodes as we sit right now.
Yeah.
I think it lays out the groundwork. This is the big action sequence in the end of Act 2 that propels you into Act 3, and the big confrontation is what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
pre-confrontation.
yes. So we have to get past this boss to get to the final boss.
Right.
And now you're low on XP and mana, and so you got to figure out what you're gonna do
Used
now.
all your potions.
But you've got a sidekick, and she's hot, so it works out. But anything else in this episode? Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about just for a second, is we kind of mentioned it earlier, but some of the things I did catch in the background was the
Thanos helicopter. Mjolnir.
Mjolnir was in the ground. There was somebody in a jar. It kind of maybe looked like Thor, like trapped in a jar in the ground.
Yeah.
There was the Kree ship that was the twisty one, like crashed in the background. There was the battleship that was lost during a Bermuda Triangle that showed up. It was in the trailer for a hot second. I think it's the one that we're talking about that was brought up. There was I think there was a Quinjet in there at some point in time. It kind of was like off in the distance, and it like flashed in.
Yeah, got dropped in. It's almost like the Devil's Anus or whatever from Thor Ragnarok when
Yeah.
stuff just gets
kind of
dropped in.
and it's I mean, it's all stuff that's being pruned. I wonder if those are the what's the actual physical things that the time bombs are actually pruning from the timeline, and they show up in the void.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems a lot of the stuff just seems super random to be like, why is a battleship pruned? What does that?
Right.
I don't
And
know.
there was a tank, and like we're talking about the bowling alley, like
Yeah.
it was kind of just
Yeah.
really and TV trays and stuff. So yeah, it was just a lot of really cool stuff. I'm really excited to see like somebody do a breakdown of. I'll go see if Heavy Spoilers has got theirs done yet, because New Rockstars probably won't be done till tomorrow at
Yeah.
least. But all right, that's our overall thoughts and reaction review of episode 5 of the Loki series called The Journey into Mystery. Let us know what you thought of this episode and our reaction to it in the comments down below. Please like this video, subscribe, be nice. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, follow us on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. Links are in the description down below. Until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night now.